Okay, so welcome back to the channel. If you're wondering why I'm so dressed up, I actually just came back from leaving the house. You guys know me, I don't normally dress up for videos, but anyway, so today's video is part 2 or number 2 of Patreon Diaries. Now, to people who are new to the Patreon, I have this series, Patreon Diaries, where I just vlog like random stuff that's going on in my life or stuff I'm doing. I might at some point do a closet tour, so if you guys want to see that, I'm trying to get the interaction on my Patreon up. Comment down below if that's what you want to see. But anyway, today we are talking mainly about my tote bags, which is merch for my magazine, and basically just talking everything tote bags essentially. So right here I have all the tote bags I've made. So we're gonna talk like deeper about the details and everything. Okay, so here are all the tote bags I've ever made, and basically I want to explain the production process, sampling process, all different things when it comes to these tote bags. So to start with this is the first tote bag I ever made. I made this 2 years ago and I made it for myself. And it's so weird because I just made it for myself because I just thought it would be cool to make, and then people kept messaging me like, where can I buy this? And I'm like, it's not merch, like I just made it for myself. And it's quite funny because a few years later I'm actually like selling tote bags as merch, but it's like I said, I made it myself, so it's not the best quality. If you can see the handles, they kind of just like rumple up and there's already loose threads. It's not the highest quality thing. I would never sell anything like this. But it was pretty cool because this was the first thing that gave me an idea. If I was ever to make merch, I would make tote bags, because I genuinely just made this for myself like years ago. And people said that they actually wanted to buy it, which I found quite interesting. So in recent times, as you probably know, for my magazine, I have merch. And the merch for my magazine is basically these tote bags. So I have many different samples. So I'll go through like the samples and all the details, and then I'll show you the main one. So all it is, it's a very, very, very thick cotton canvas material, really high quality. There's embroidery here, and then there's an inside pocket. You probably won't be able to see from that far out, but there is. Okay, this is the first sample. This is how I know, because here there isn't an inside pocket. So I remember I asked them to add an inside pocket because the problem I have with tote bags is they're kind of like a thing where you just throw everything in, and I've never really liked that. I like how tote bags look aesthetically, but there's different bits of tote bags I don't like, so I just did everything myself. So this is the first sample. And this doesn't have the inside pocket, so I'm guessing, yep, so this version has the inside pocket, but the handle's too short. Like I can barely fit this handle over my shoulder, like barely. So in the next sample I wanted them to add like a longer handle, so that's the next sample. So this is the final form. It's got a longer handle, it's got obviously embroidery, thick cotton canvas, it has the inside pocket, and last but not least, it has a zip. Now you guys, it sounds so like simple, but you have no idea how long I've wanted a tote bag with a zip, because like I said, I like how zips look aesthetically. The only issue I've always had with tote bags is I carry around valuable things. I carry around like cameras and stuff. And I don't want someone to just be able to like dip their hands into my tote bag and take my lens or something, because those things are really expensive. So I've always wanted a zip in a tote bag, just to give me that kind of assurance that my items are somewhat safe, or safer than if it was just like a normal tote bag, which is open. So I got them to add industrial zips to the bag. But yeah, this is literally the final form of the merch I will be selling. And I think what was most important to me, because once again, these tote bags were all meant to kind of fix issues I've had with tote bags I've had in the past. So one thing is the fact that the cotton canvas is such a thick material. What that means is that because of the construction of this tote bag, it can carry heavier items. Most tote bags, like the one I made myself, for example, this one, the material is so like thin and flimsy. When you start to put items that are too heavy, the bag starts to stretch and it feels like it's gonna rip. This bag is way too sturdy for that. Like, that's just not gonna happen. And so to talk about the finances, I love talking about finances on Patreon because guys support my channel through money. So if there's anywhere I can give back, I'm gonna tell you about like running a business, the business side of things. So before I got to this final form, it cost me about £500 to sample. Now, obviously, for guys who don't know, in business or in economics, there's something called economies of scale. And what that means is the more of an item you produce, the less each item becomes. So say I'm a small business and I order 100 tote bags I want to sell from a factory that I've made the tote bags with. Let's say the unit price is $5 per bag from the factory. If a bigger company wanted 1,000 bags, then they would have a cheaper unit price, maybe like $3 per bag. So the bigger company are making a higher profit margin on each item because the more units you order, the less each unit is, because the factory, how they see it is like they're going to earn more money overall because the quantity is bigger. So to give people an incentive to order higher numbers, they reduce the unit price, which means someone like me, because I have such a small business and I got 200 tote bags made because I don't know how it's going to sell, each bag was more expensive than it normally is for any other company. So literally, that's why when you sample, because you're only making one bag, they make it really expensive. So like I said, sampling to get to this final form cost me £500. And then the production cost of each bag actually is about, it really depends because I have like different versions, but it ranges between £5 to £10 for each bag, which, knowing that these bags cost 5 to 10 for each bag, I have a big amount of resentment towards luxury brands like Margiela, because Margiela, they make tote bags that aren't even this good quality, because I've seen Margiela tote bags, they're more like this. And they will sell it for like 300, 400, 500. I think after like taking my bags into production and seeing how much these things actually cost to make, I don't think I could ever really buy a luxury tote bag. If there's a tote bag I want, I think I would make it myself. Like, because honestly, the tote bags that luxury brands make are flimsy, really cheap cotton. They don't even have zips anyway. You can't really carry heavy stuff in them because the materials they use are so delicate. The only ones that make sense to buy are ones that are very hard to make aesthetically. So like an Issey Miyake Homme Plissé tote bag is something very difficult to achieve. So I can understand why they'll charge a lot for that. But for most of these brands, they just have a plain, cheap, like cotton tote bag and they just write the brand and people spend loads of money for it. I just don't get it like at all. But yeah, so how the business side works, going back to the business. So these cost me between £5 to £10 to make, right? Now, I'm selling them for £40, I think I calculated. Yeah, so I'm selling them for £40. So how you actually get to that number is with these tote bags. So it costs, let's say, because you always have to estimate for the most expensive production cost. So let's say each bag costs £10 to make. It cost me £500 sampling the tote bags, which means that I need to recuperate that money, which is why you then raise the price by 10, because mathematically speaking, if it cost me £500 to sample tote bags, then for me to get that £500 back and adding £10 cost on each bag to recuperate that money, it means I have to sell 50 tote bags, which is a high number. So then that's what makes the price go to 20. And then I've added the price of shipping in the bag. And that's why domestic shipping, if you buy it from my website when it's available, will be free. And then international shipping will only be £5. It's not actually going to be £5. It's probably going to cost me about 10, 15, maybe even 20, depending on what country someone's in, to send it tracked. Which is why most companies, if you're going to make shipping cheap, you have to add the price of shipping in the cost of the bag itself. So that's kind of how we get into the 30s. So how the price got to £40, I had to copyright the design of this bag. And what I mean is like this type of fabric with this lettering with a zip. Legally, no one's allowed to sell it but me. And the reason why you have to do that is because people like to take advantage of small businesses and just like copy their ideas. And I did spend a lot of time thinking deeply about these tote bags. Like I said, it looks simple, but I just fixed problems that I always had with tote bags, like the thickness of it. Can it carry heavy items? Does it have a zip? Is it secure? Is there an inside pocket so you can separate small items with big items? And it seems so like simple, but genuinely, I have had so many tote bags in my life and none of them have like all these things in one. So I had to pay a lot of money to get it copyrighted. And I got like a patent for this design, like specifically. And that whole process in the UK, it cost me about £400. So yeah, that's how we get to £40. So literally, it's funny because people will see a tote bag for £40, not even know how high quality it is, because this is really high quality to be fair. And then just think that when someone sells a tote bag for £40, that they're just making a huge profit. It doesn't work like that. I mean, if I wanted to, I could have made it more expensive. Maybe people would have bought it, but I just don't work like that. This is not really me trying to be a millionaire tomorrow. That's not why I'm selling merch. I'm selling merch because people have asked me to make these bags after seeing these first ones. And then also, it kind of fixes problems because I know when people buy this, they'll be happy that it has a zip, it has an inside pocket. It's like it's more about like the, kind of like it being utilitarian more than anything else. So yeah, that's everything about my tote bag. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. There are more videos coming on Patreon. I think the next Patreon video I want to make is talking about the whole production process of my magazine. So not just the bags, but every single cost that happens when you make a magazine, just to give people an insight into how complicated these things can get. But hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. Also, let me know if you want to see like a closet tour, because I don't want to put that on my main channel because I don't want to come across like, oh, I'm flexing, blah, 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 I have all these clothes. But for Patreon, I think it kind of works better, just like if people want to know. Because I know my Patreon audience is not big, which means it won't be perceived as like I'm trying to show off or anything like that. But yeah, thank you very much to everyone subscribed to Patreon. I really, really appreciate it. And I will continue to give you good content. And yeah, stay subscribed.